Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is the
Hi, how
real.
are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. This is the real difference. How you feel? I'm wonderful. It's Wednesday, Hump Day, June 2nd. So, all my fitness people, just day two of the month. So get to it. This morning I got a lot done. Did some yard work. I'm very happy how the yard looks now. So I'm good. Just working here. It's short week. It's almost over now, right? So 2 more days and it's back to the weekend
Mm-hmm.
again. So that's the one great thing of having a short week, well, having a Monday off or something like that. Short week, I love it. And it wasn't that busy. Like my Tuesday wasn't like a Monday. For some people it was. For me it was. I'm like, oh wow, it's really Tuesday.
Mm. I'm glad for the short week. I can't even hold you.
All right, well let's get into it then.
So
Because I know like you said, you got to possibly get ready to go handle some business. So let's get right into this topic here. I liked it. The topic that we have today, ladies and gentlemen, is why cap when you can create. Why cap when you can create? What's your thoughts on this?
right.
Because I know people be capping a lot. So
So
a lot of cap going on recently. The capping so much, I just for real, honestly, I've been taking the break from the clubhouse because people have been capping too much. Like, okay, all right, I just gotta take me a break away.
I mean, I think this is bigger than Clubhouse. But where it came from was, somebody was saying, they used the word capping. They were saying. So I went into a space yesterday that I'm often in, and they were saying, a person has I hear my echo, I'm sorry. Wrote this book on self love or helping people find love or whatever the thing is about. But they're very aggressive when you encounter them. If you disagree, just little things to like trigger them, and they'll be really aggressive.
Okay.
We've encountered people that way.
Yeah.
They have a message, but then they're like overly aggressive. Like you still have some work to do inside. So one of the guys was like, just make some sense. And he was really upset about it because it's like, I guess it's like second or third time this happened. And me, I'm sitting in the room just listening. I start pondering like, this has been going on forever. People have been projecting and doing these things. This is, capping, catfishing, perpetrating. What did we used to call it back in the day? Perpetrating, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
used to tell people you perpetrating.
Right.
You know what I mean? Um, catfishing is a thing. There's a whole show about catfishing.
Facts. MTV. I think it's
um,
called Catfish. Well, it
yeah,
used to be called Catfish because it's
it's
not there
called
no more.
catfish.
Hmm.
Okay, and then we would talk about how other cultures would take our stuff and try to make it their own, right?
Uh huh.
But we don't have to cap. And I just start thinking like, why? Why cap when you can create your own? Like you could just create. So that's how that came about. And I just feel like there's so many different ways and avenues to do the same thing with your own little spin on it. But people aren't doing what they're talking about. They're not even doing it. They're just talking. So there lies the problem.
Yeah.
What's your thought?
I mean, we do live in the age now where you have the free will and options to create a lot of things, right? You can create things that you can create or change. You have so many avenues and ways to do certain things where you don't have to be stuck in a regular norm, if that makes sense, right? Instead of sitting there complaining about something, you can be a change to something, right? You can be the change that you talk about, right? For example, right? I'll give you an example, quick one. Like, men, we have a lot of conversation, and we're talking about men and men not raising their kids X, Y, Z, right? But if every man take accountability and do their part, you change the narrative right there by itself. Like, let me be the difference. Let me be the change. Let me create the change, the narrative, so we can start having this conversation about, oh, we men need to take care of our kids. If we start doing that, that's gonna be a different. That's what changed the conversation. We can get past that part because now we're taking care of kids. So what's the next thing we got to work on? If that makes sense, as far as creating and changing.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you're not comfortable with hearing a narrative, you
Hmm.
can be the change. Just like I said, oh, they have these box braids. Another culture is talking about boxer braids. She got it from a boxer or something. This woman, man, we've been wearing boxer braids since the beginning of time. Stop it. But we don't have to steal those things. We can just pour into the people that's been doing this, our culture, and things like that, and not even allow it to be a cap. Like when we talk about accountability, well, if you're holding people accountable, they're not able to cap.
True. I
That's
agree.
just that.
Yeah, that's true.
Checks and balances.
it's
Shoot.
the
I
it's
just
the
have
check.
to
It's the check for me. Not checking, but check, but same thing. But I'm with you on that one. Yes.
yeah. So that's really where it came from, and I feel like this is a good thing to talk about. Let's talk about different ways we've seen people capping, perpetrating. What are some of the reasoning behind why people choose to cap instead of create? And like we were just saying, different ways of creating. What are some of the things you can create from things we've seen people capping about?
I believe some people I think when we hear this conversation and people just be capping, it just really they're trying to seek validation as far as what they do, or if anything, trying to build their self up to be something that they're really not. You understand what I'm saying? They had these conversations about a certain type
Hmm.
of man, but you're not that type of man. So let's speak on your current experience and things that you need to do to make sure that you're a better person instead of worrying about what the next man's doing or what other people are doing. Stop it. Let's talk about what you actually been through, and instead of talking about, well, my friend over here, my friend over here, my friend over there. What experience have you been through? Let's talk about that and how did you navigate through that situation? Not what you should have, could have did. What did
Hmm.
you do? Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You hit something. You said men and women talking about things that they do that, or who they are, and they're not really that person.
Mm-hmm.
And it just brought to my mind, and not to say that I have anything against it, or not to say that I'm for it, but poly is now one of the new fads that everyone's talking about, right?
You said the poly.
And then you have, hmm
Is that like the dating type of preference thing now?
no, poly, like how Muslims are able to have multiple wives.
Okay, yeah.
So now
Okay, yeah,
there
yeah.
are men who are not following the Muslim faith who are saying, if you give a darn about your community, you'll consider poly because it's the way to save the community.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So but they're talking from a perspective as if, excuse me, I'm taking my vitamin,
Yep.
as
Careful.
if they're living this lifestyle with multiple wives.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one woman is enough for. I'll speak for me. I can't speak for the other man. I'll speak for me. Like me, one woman's enough. One is just enough. Having multiple, stop it. That's cat right there by yourself. And we talking about the average Joes, right? We talking about the hardworking men who work every day. One woman is enough. I ain't talking about you guys who got all these millions of dollars and got have a family over there, whatever. No, we talking about the average Joe in this day and age. Now, of course, back in the 70s and 80s, our grandfathers or dads, whatever, might have had two families and were providing for both families. But guess what? The cost of living wasn't through the roof like it is now, right? So what I'm saying now, in
Hmm.
this day and age that we're right now, and if you're a man and you are two wives or two men, whatever, unless everyone's working, that's not going to work out. It's just not for the average man. If you understand what I'm saying, like that's
Hmm.
cap right there by itself, all cap. And then let's not factor in if you have kids. That's super cap. Two women, and then they all have one. Let's say two women. You're a man. You have two wives, and then they have one child apiece. Man, stop it. That's on the low end. Of course, you're gonna have probably two or three or four or five kids. One income, all cap, all. Because where can you travel, have family time, vacation, sports events, daycare, whatever? It's just too much. It's all cap. Not with the average income that the average man make now.
Right. And the lifestyle these people are actually living, you know, because when you think about it, I mean, before we go there, let's go ahead and listen to the message. I'll come after
All right, no
sharing
problem.
that one.
Don't forget your thought though. Don't forget it.
I believe capping can actually oftentimes be more of a almost like an external anchor for a lot of people, as opposed to creation, which tends to start with a you create from the things that you cultivate inwardly. Even if the spark is based on something that you saw outside, the creation is still something that you produce and then you expound it from yourself, as opposed to capping or however you phrase it. You know that can stay linked and grounded outside of a person. And to people who don't have that introspective, whether they stay very outside of themselves, they're more grounded, in those types of things. I think it's easier for them to gravitate towards that because they still have the desire to do more, but they don't have the introspective or the internal link to pull from within to do so.
Mm. Thank you for the message, Kim. Appreciate that, sir. Miss I Speak Life, you want to jump on that?
Hey, K Worthy, welcome back. I'm glad to have you back. I hear what you're saying, and it's true. Unfortunately, it's not. It's almost like there's no excuse for it though. Like if you don't have the grit, tenacity, or like the inner um, push and strive that you're mentioning to actually get to creation, then you shouldn't speak as if you do. Now, there's a thin line here, right? Y'all know I'm a believer, so we had this part of the conversation. Well, what do you call faith? Oh boy, I just was shaking my head. Faith does not require you to open your mouth to talk to people. You know what I mean? It doesn't require you to start a profile and say that you're doing something that you're not. You know, I believe it's really like what Kay Worthy was talking about. It's that inner thing actually to help you, to propel you to action, to create. So just to kill that noise before it even reaches this platform, because that's what came out before. It's like, no, it's not the same. But yeah, Kay Worthy, do you feel that in the instances where people are like catfishing and people are just how do you call it? Like copy and paste methods, like just putting out there, they are Forex traders, they are, what else is it that people are capping about nowadays? Um, they putting up Forex trade things. Oh, everyone is into real estate and all of these things and haven't taken any type of course or been engaged in any way, and now they're just perpetrating them. Do you feel like those people can be successful in that, or is there grace we should be giving them or something? What are your thoughts? And while he's coming back, Twins, what did you have to say from his comments?
Um, Actually, nothing to add additional to it. I like your take on it as well. But I did want to kind of answer the one thing you just said about people capping now. Like, everyone is a trader now or a day trader because, everybody's following the new trend right now. And, and I know because the whole pandemic has happened, people have now ventured out to create other means of revenue, which is great. I think it's awesome. Everyone should step out and try to have more than one source coming in because these major companies don't care about you. They let you go if their money gets low. So it's good to step on that. But then
That's cool. What you just said? They let you go if
they'll
their
let
money
you,
gets low.
yeah, they might.
Hashtag.
Hey, they ain't getting. Even though they still making money, but they ain't getting that. Like they used to getting $1 million a month. Now they're getting like $900,000. You know what I'm saying? They ain't getting that million. Okay, we gotta let you go because I need my million every day. But but I understand what you're saying because I mean during the whole pandemic, you got people coming out with cream and body scrubs and masks and all that, right? Which is cool. But there's people out there who've been doing it because that's their actual trade. They went to college for that, got certifications. You know what I'm saying? They studied the medicines, the tea trees, and mix all together, know how to work. Compare to someone who just saw a few videos on YouTube on it and they selling it and they acting like they're a professional with it, right? And that's where you can sometimes have a little conflict of interest, especially when you run across somebody who actually really does it compared to somebody who does do it, and then they start talking to each other and like, okay, we know who the professional is at this point now. You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah,
it,
because you ain't had this tested. You telling people to put sugar on their bodies and stuff, and don't know if they got dermatitis or,
mm-hmm.
you're not asking the proper questions.
No, you're not.
You don't know what subderma is. If somebody mentioned it, you just like, well,
Right.
yeah.
And,
So that's a whole cap for no reason when you
right.
can sit and do the research.
Yeah, yeah. Because of course, a lot of us we support. You know, what I'm saying we gonna support, want to help out, and then you do it, and then you run across somebody who's really doing it. You're like, oh wow, okay. So I got to be more mindful of how I. Not saying supporting is good, but as far as promoting other people's product, I'll just say that because I'll say always buy and support people, but when it comes to promoting, be mindful of that because you could be promoting somebody who just learned how to do something compared to someone who's really doing it, and you might prefer to someone who has maybe a skin condition and they put something in their body, they make some words, but then like you told them, you for me, this person thinking they was professional at it, but they really don't know. So that concept there,
Hmm.
yeah. I'm gonna hit play here. Let's see
All
something
right, we
else you
got
want
a
to add.
message.
Okay, cool.
Even in that, I think we can see that, there's a transition in faith. And faith in itself is simply belief. And a lot of us believe, but in order to act on belief, there has to be a trust within that belief. Most people don't make it to trust, not in themselves, not in their belief systems. They believe, a lot. They think of a lot. There are very few things that they trust. You act on the things that you trust. You will work around and through the things that you trust. But the things that you may simply believe in, they don't have enough thought. They don't have enough investment from you, either spiritually or mentally, for you to really access them accurately for what they are and what they are not. And in that, I actually think, that's a big issue for a lot of people when we look at faith systems or belief systems because so many people, they know of, but they don't understand and they don't operate in. It keeps them separated.
Okay, all right, all right.
So
Thank
for
you.
me, faith is complete trust. So it's the opposite. Faith is a complete trust in whatever it is you're putting faith toward. If I have faith in God or if I have faith that I can do whatever it is I'm attempting to do, then that means I have trust in that. I have a complete trust or confidence in that. So if you have faith in someone, you completely believe in that person to do whatever, and you're willing to push or invest, like we're talking about now, or support. That is the cause of action. In my world, and maybe others it looks different. Maybe it is what you saying in terms of just believing in and no movement, but without trust. But in in my understanding and the way that I operate in faith is trust is complete in that. So, just a little bit of agree to disagree there, but I again appreciate your perspective always and coming and having dialogue with us. So yeah,
Oh,
if you want to respond,
so
be sure to do that.
okay, so Ken and Miss I speak like so. When it comes to trust, right? How can you trust? Not how, but can you trust somebody that you don't know? Is that even possible, right? Can you
Yeah.
trust somebody that you don't know? That's what.
I say yeah. You can trust someone you don't know.
Uh huh.
Um, but I don't think it'll be a complete trust.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was just talking, like you wouldn't have your faith, you wouldn't put your faith in them.
Right.
It's like okay, I don't have a reason not to trust you until you show me a reason not to trust you.
Okay. That makes sense.
So
That
you
makes
think
sense.
about it, right? If
Mm-hmm.
every interaction I've ever had with you, you're consistent in your word, you're consistent in production. Why would I trust that you're gonna fail me today or you're gonna drop off tomorrow or whatever if I've always seen consistency
Right.
or production or whatever? I trust that you're gonna do what you usually do.
I agree. I agree. And I
Yeah.
think. I
But
think.
in terms of putting my complete trust in you and my faith and all that's different.
Right. That comes with more time, so that makes sense. So I technically kind of really answered my own question there, but that makes sense though, 100%. because when you first meet someone, um, it's like first impression, right? When you meet somebody, you know, you first meet them, you listen to them X, Y, Z, and you can know right away if it's somebody you're gonna be keep dealing with or you gonna keep moving on based on how they say and carry themselves. So that makes sense. And then, like you said before, unless they give you something to not trust them no more, then that makes sense. Oh, we got two
Right.
messages.
And I mean, you cannot trust someone when you first meet them too. You can hear the bull crap sometimes, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So you could definitely, I don't trust this guy.
Listen
Sounding
and have
like this
that
don't
side
feel
eye,
right.
like, I hear you, but go ahead. Okay, keep going. Tell me more.
It's a choice for me. I don't have to trust you. I don't have to believe anything you're saying, and it doesn't have any bearings on how I treat you, rather than how much access you might have to me.
Right.
Like when you're in my presence, I'm not gonna, treat you crazy or anything like that. I might not give a lot of response to what you're saying. I might not even engage in real discussion with you for what? I don't believe nothing you're saying. I got nothing to
All right.
say. So that's how that's how it is to me.
Got it. All right. We got two messages. I'm gonna play the first one.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessarily possible to trust someone you don't know, but I think it is very possible for you to trust, yourself and the knowledge that you have and the understanding that you
Mm,
have, and based on that, making a decision. Um, you know, Even when we look at cases where people lack trust, I think usually it's more of a lack of trust in yourself rather than it is a lack of trust in a situation or a person. Like, you don't have to sit here and debate with yourself on something that you're sure of, and vice versa. No matter who is involved, if you're sure of a situation or if you're sure of a way that something can and cannot play out, if you understand the type of places that you do or do not put yourself, you don't you don't have as much, uncertainty levied in these decisions or these situations simply because you trust the way in which you move. And when you trust that movement, you don't really have as much, uncertainty in the places that you come to as much as you have certainty in the way in which you got there.
the first thing he said, which I stand and hand clap for, is the trust yourself. You gotta first trust yourself before you can
Yeah.
trust anyone, and that's a fact right there. If you have, I don't know, not self awareness, but I don't know, it'll come back to me. But if you can't trust yourself or believe in yourself or be confident, then there's a problem there. So I love what he said when he started off saying you first trust yourself before you can trust anyone else. I like that. Anything you want to add,
I
Miss? I
mean,
see
I
the
feel
last.
like we come in this world
Mm-hmm.
trusting other people before we even understand who we are.
That part.
You know, so I don't know. I don't disagree to at a certain point in life, your focus needs to be in developing your trust in yourself. But I think that's part of it's a process and it's a certain part in there that you get to. Um, and again, trusting in someone else is you just believe that they'll be reliable or like I said, consistent or is not as I don't know. I just feel like it could be off the back. I think that's what we do when we send our money. I think that's what we do when we go and we sit in a chair we never sat in before. I think that's what we do often.
That's true. We go to a restaurant
When we
somewhere,
get
you
on
have,
a train and we
yeah,
don't know the conductor, we get on a plane, we don't know the pilot.
true, true, true.
What are we doing? We're trusting these people to do what we know
Close.
them to do. Their credentials say they do. You know? So,
That's a good one. I like that one. Every time I got on the plane, I never had any doubt that the pilot can't fly this plane. I didn't. I just trust that he can do it because that's what he does. So I like how he said that. I love that.
yeah.
I'm gonna play.
So I mean,
Oh,
I
go ahead.
think it's depending on where we are in it, or what type of because sometimes people sometimes it's really just about folks and their religion. But if you look at how we live our lives, we put a lot of trust in a lot of things that we don't know.
Trust in our jobs.
We send our children to school,
Trust
but
facts.
we don't know none of these teachers, principals, administration team,
Daycares.
counselors,
Mm-hmm.
nurses.
Coaches. All that.
Yeah.
We trust that they do the right thing until they show us otherwise. Wow.
And if we didn't trust, we wouldn't send our children there. We'd send them somewhere else. If
Big
something
facts.
happened, that made us feel any type of way that we couldn't trust the school for our children, or we couldn't trust that daycare, or we couldn't trust that aunt or that uncle to watch them, or that whatever, what do?
Go somewhere else.
That's when we that's
Hmm.
when we move. We make a difference. But
That's true
I mean, we
fact.
change. We make
Hmm.
a change in that. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
just how I feel about it.
yeah. I'm with you on that because when I was house shopping, I seen a lot of beautiful houses, but the schools were the main source of where I picked to live for the next 30 plus years, right, or 30 years, whatever.
You
I looked
trusting a
at
real estate agent?
yeah. I looked at the schools where I'm moving to. Like, okay, I don't trust the schools that are ranked 4, 5, and 6. I need seven the bare minimum, but I like a 9 or 10, of course. But seven and up, I can work
Hmm.
with. But you like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, nah, I can't work. I don't trust that, so I didn't choose certain houses based on the school because like you said, I have trust. I have faith that they're gonna do the right thing for my kids. So I like how you said that. All right, we got two messages. I'm gonna hit those play. They're from the same person, so they're probably back to back. Okay.
What is trust? By definition, is confidence. Is confidence something that's given, or is confidence something that's built over time? Well, confidence is not something that you can't give somebody confidence. It has to be built over time. So, can you trust somebody you don't know? Not fully. As a matter of fact, to really be honest with you, no. It's not meant for me to trust you. Because again, trust is something that's earned. So, if I never met you, don't know anything about you, then it's impossible for me to have confidence in you because I don't even know you yet. You haven't proven anything to me for me to have confidence in you. So you can't really trust somebody or have confidence in an individual you've never fully met, don't know anything about them.
All right, I'm gonna play the second message because he probably continue what he's saying.
Hmm.
So when you talk about trusting professionals, the reason why you don't have any doubt is because at the end of the day, well, you assume that they wouldn't have gotten this job if they hadn't qualified, if they hadn't shown that they were qualified and equipped to be able to do it. Number two, most of these pilots that fly planes didn't just start. They're not novice. They're not amateurs. So they have a resume, especially that proven, that they're professionals and that they're experienced. So that's why we don't think about it because we don't expect a major airline or major, train station or major transportation company to have somebody in behind that wheel with lives at stake, without them not qualifying or having experience because then that company definitely going to have a lawsuit and potentially go out of business. So why would a company, put their $1 billion business or multi-million-dollar business at stake, not having somebody who's qualified and experienced in that position?
I agree with you saying. Of course, however, there is a situation where these people who work in these pilots, train station, bus drivers, whatever you want to call, there are situations if you look up where people do make bad decisions. You know, you can hire people to the best knowledge that you think they're going to perform at a certain job, but you never know how life happens and things happen where they make mistakes because we all make mistakes. No one's perfect, right? So that's why we talk about the trust. So yeah, I'm sure it's plenty of time when there was a plane crash, the pilot was not coherent, or this.
We're aware of that. We know that there are
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
plane crashes, but we still get on that plane
We
with confidence.
confidence, right?
And definition for what I see in terms of definition is not confidence that it is what trust is. Trust is belief in the reliability, um, truth, ability, or strength of something or someone or something. So, I mean, the more reliable they are, the more confident you'll be in them. Like you mentioned, they're not starting as, uh, these pilots, they worked up toward that. Well, then that's why you'll have more confidence in them. Meaning, like, that'll just look like a single situation that one pilot that just,
Right.
took Kobe and his daughter's life versus you're now looking at all pilots like, wait a minute, I need a background check. I need to know what's up. I need to meet this person in person. We need to have a conversation.
Hey,
And really, the way it looks, so these people don't drink. Do we know if they have a flash? We.
And I'll say this, right. Like I say this. It's funny, right? I'm gonna keep on the pilot. I trust that he's very, very qualified at what he does, right? I trust that he can take us to from Atlanta to Jamaica. I trust that the plane successful. But guess what? I also have faith because also when I get on that plane, because I trust him, I still pray because I gotta have faith that
Hmm.
on top of him doing what he's supposed to do, I'm being protected from the Most High. So I use trust and faith in both scenarios. Even when I go out to eat, I trust the cooks are supposed to do what they're supposed to do, but I still pray on my food every time I eat it because you just don't know what
Hmm.
happens. I just pray, hey, hope the person cooking this is having a good day and X, Y, Z, and I still pray on that. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Even with teachers, daycare, I pray they do what they're supposed to do, but I have faith they don't do nothing to my kid because they know if they do something, I'm gonna go postal. You understand what I'm saying? So I have trust, and then I have faith on top of that. So yeah, but no, I'm not checking everything, but I still put that faith in the air on top of it as a cherry on top. Like, all right, I hope they do what they're supposed to do because I'm willing to take it all the way there. All right, we got two from Ken, and then he replied back. So I'm gonna hit Ken messages, okay?
Yeah, good.
No problem.
I agree that we trust people very early, but I think that's at least for me personally. I think not. I think I believe that we should be looking to kind of help children more in that regard early on. Like when I speak to my kids, even early, I'm kind of trying to get them in a position where they question, themselves, why they do things. I don't even like for them to say I don't know,
Right.
whenever something happens, because I feel like it's an emotional, and intellectual cop out. You
Mm-hmm.
are aware of why you took the action. I want you to understand the action.
Yes.
I'm kind of careful to make sure I don't project or have them mirror anything as much as it is. I kind of want them to very early start to cultivate a sense of self and a sense of doing and a sense of being. So they don't have to look outside for it anywhere else, but they can have it within themselves. And
I'm gonna play again. Ken.
I think when we look at that, overall, and especially when we start to look at attachment styles that children have, and looking back at how they grow up and how those attachment styles develop, I definitely think there's a lot to discuss in that facet. And yeah, I'm kind of off on a tangent here, but sorry, that really piques my interest because I don't think we realize how much it is that as babies we really develop how it is that we interact with the world. And the fact is that a lot of us are we're kind of neglected unintentionally,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't even prepare ourselves to be aware of it enough in adulthood to possibly do better at recognizing it and changing it in ourselves, let alone helping other people with it.
Listen, Ken.
Hmm.
I just you hit something me on your first statement when you because I have a 8 year old and a 7 year old, and when they do stuff, I need them to use their brain and think. But what they did, like you said, saying that I don't know, that is not an answer. That is not an answer because I don't know wasn't the reason why you went in the kitchen and ate that brownie without asking. You wanted something. You felt it. You was hungry. You knew it was there, but why'd you do it without asking? I need you to give me an answer. And then going forward, how are you going to correct this and prevent this action from happening again? Like I need you to think about your actions. I'll put a period there for a minute. Go ahead, Miss. I speak life.
Hmm. No, you're absolutely right. And I feel the same. I think we're all in agreement here. Especially with us all having that passion to change the narrative when it comes to these young people, because, like he mentioned, there's been a lot of neglect. You know, not whether their parents were at work or at fellowship somewhere because of their faith or religion or whatever they were doing, or even if they were just that parent that sat in the living room and smoked a cigarette and drank their drink with their girlfriend or boy, homeboys or play whatever. It is something that we definitely have to work on in our culture. And again, I think we're all the three of us, as we talked about our children, how we are, changing the narrative. I don't know is just like a curse word in my house. It's like saying the word what.
Oh,
It's like saying, it's like, who do you think you're talking to?
right.
Don't disrespect me because
Oh
you know
man.
that I know you can articulate right? What it is that you did and why it is you did it. And if for any reason you felt a compulsion, now we need to talk about impulse.
Man. Yeah.
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 So
Whew.
this is what we talk about. This is how we change the narrative. But back to the point at hand, when it comes to all this capping, it's because you know people are easily influenced. What do we see on TV? Okay, now the fad is Elon Musk said Bitcoin or Dogecoin is going to do that, that, that. Now
Mm.
everyone is trying to figure out what this is and how they can get into it. And now, because using people and manipulation is a part of all cultures, I believe, you're going to always have the scammers. I think that's in every culture, as not just us.
Right.
But then you got to deal with that. So then you're going to have people like, yeah, I'm able to do this. I can teach you how to do this. And when they want to charge you this, that, and the third, and haven't even increased their net worth, you know? So what we do learn as we develop experience life and, maybe have a degree of faith or faith based or in something, doesn't, to me, it doesn't really matter. But once you do start to see things different, then you discern, you develop your discernment. And then, like we talked about earlier, twins, you'll be able to detect the lies because you have life experience and knowledge and understanding. Even from the terminology someone uses, you'll be able to say they don't know what they're talking about or they're more aware of what they're talking about. And then you can do some investigating, research and whatever to find out if their awareness is aligned with what they're actually, producing. They're able to produce from what they know. So, but I think that initial layer of trust can be given, just like to the pilots and those things that we mentioned already.
Right.
And just even with us, I didn't get your resume. And how long have we been doing the show?
Whew. 2-3 months now, maybe 3 months more.
Right. So, and how long did we do a show prior? Did we meet each other on some other,
No.
platform? No. So you can very well trust a person. You can hear their intent a lot of times if you're mature enough.
That part right there.
If
If you're
you're
mature.
experienced enough.
Mm-hmm.
If you have, credentials and certain things yourself.
Yeah.
So like Kay Worthy was saying, like, that trusting in yourself, you have to know yourself too. So that's all a part of it. But I think those are things that are developed. And the answer to the question is, yeah, you could trust someone. Now, when you do that, just be willing that they may let you down. So you don't put all of your trust in them. You know what I mean? Like you
Right.
just give them a level of it.
There's levels to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm here
And I
playing.
mean, that's what we chose not to cap, but we chose to create. I don't have to sit here and be like, oh, I could, let's, okay, you about their life. Let's be about their life. Let's create that platform we're talking about. Let's do it.
I'm here play.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about flaws that come with just being a human being, but on an average, multi-million-dollar corporations are not hiring somebody that they intentionally know that will put their company at jeopardy. Just doesn't work. That's not how business works. I don't know if you own a business or not, you know what I'm saying, but people who own multi-million-dollar businesses or billion-dollar businesses, they're looking for that person to be qualified. You got a resume. You got to have a resume. That's why coming out of college is not enough. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to being hired on with major corporations, having that experience, because companies are not trying to hire people because they got a degree. That may get you in the door. May. Companies are looking to hire people that can add value to their company and push them forward into the profit margin. You dig what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, yeah, every now and then, you know what I'm saying, you have somebody that, make an error, or make 2 or 3 errors, because that's a part of human nature, right? We're not perfect.
Facts. No one is perfect, but no one's resume is not going to say that I'm going to mess up and cost you a lot of money in your company, because people lose money every day in these companies. I don't care if you're a multi-million-dollar company or just $1 million company or $1,000 company. People make mistakes all the time, and that's part of the high risk. Yeah, they put trust in you and hoping that you do the right thing, but people make mistakes all the time. So I understand where you're coming from, but you can go to any business right now. Hell, McDonald's is $1 million company. They jack people orders up all the time. So and and they still hire people all the time. So I get what you're saying, but there's not saying it's flawed, but I'm saying that every company you can look up had a big mistake by someone who did something. It may not make the news or did make the news, but there's nothing on the one. No one can be pre-screened on how someone's going to act in the future with a business. It's just like marriage. You just never know how someone may change while they're in the marriage. You can sit there and screen your wife or husband for 3 or 4 years, but by year 8 and 9, 10, they can totally switch up on you. But there's nothing you can pre-screen. At that point, it's too late. And whatever happens, happens, and that can cost you money or whatever case may be. That's all. Just give you some example, but I appreciate the feedback. I think it's on I am godly or godly one.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again coming through, bro. I'm Godly One. It's always a pleasure to have you guys come through and share your perspectives. I think that his comment was, in response to your comment in terms of the flight attendant or the plane, the pilot, having a bad day, etc. And I think we already covered that.
Right.
Maybe he didn't hear it, or a few moments ago when we say, yeah, you definitely do go through a vetting phase, or those people are vetted, to the best of anyone's ability, hopefully. But we also do know, and this is in addition to what we said before, because I didn't say it, but we also know that sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. So some of these people in these positions are not there because their resume, their education,
Ooh, talk
or
to
their
him.
experience or knowledge of.
True.
Some people are there because of who they know, because they're well connected. You got people like, I'll use DJ Khaled. One of the Egyptian guys came through the room and told us we were pronouncing it incorrectly. So I'll try to say it without spitting. So that's just a sidebar there. He has a whole company in his son's name,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now that's a lot of faith and confidence in his son that he's not going to just completely, mishandle all of what his dad is putting out there for him and putting in perspective for him. But on the other end of that, there are people who will just buy into it or subscribe to him because they feel like he's being cultivated by someone who knows what they're doing. So when they see that young man's name down the line, they go, oh, that's DJ Khaled. He's going to have respect and things like that based on who his father was.
True.
It ain't really going to have anything to do with his integrity
Right.
until they see him mess up, until they see the integrity level drop or, ascend, whatever. But as long as he maintains the same level, whatever his dad does,
Mm-hmm.
then that can go on and on. That's legacy. That's going to go on and on and on. But we don't know that, but people are subscribed and buying into it. They watch the videos. They all, consumed with it
Mm-hmm.
because, that's just how we are. Khaled is putting, these companies in his son's name. This is how he wants to continue his legacy. So you would just think if this man has been this successful in what he does, he's going to cultivate that in his son. You would, you're just going to believe that, right? Like, why would he not pour into his son so that his son can maintain it? Why would he not prepare his son so his
Mm-hmm.
son can maintain it? But how many times have we seen
Millions of times.
where that's not the case? We got Donald Trump. You think Trump's son is going to be the next president down the line somewhere? Anybody?
That's true, and you can, and I love you to use that scenario because DJ Khaled can pour everything into his son. Teaching about count, everything. But at the end of the day, the son will have to make some decisions to show who he is, and he have to hold himself accountable, right? So, yeah, his dad can do X, Y, Z, but most father and sons don't really walk in the same footsteps, and some
Mm-hmm.
and some are forced to be in a father or mother's footsteps, and that brings on a lot of pressure, right?
Could you
So
imagine what that little boy's gonna feel when he turns 16?
you're right. He gotta be you're right. He already talking about he the best now. And he gonna be talking about we still the best. When our kids have kids. I'm just saying, right? The
And not
pressure.
to look at it from because, like I said, what Khaled shows me, he's one that I look at often. I try to walk in that same type of confidence and what I pour into my children.
Uh-huh.
I'm a believer. You train up a child in the way they're supposed to go, they won't depart. So even if they veer off or venture off, you know what I mean? Eventually they're going to get back to where they need to be. So I get it. He is confident in what he's doing and
Mm-hmm.
what he's putting in there. But at the end of the day, like I said, there will be people that will follow that young man, and it's going to just be based on what Khaled did. It's not going to have nothing to do with what they've seen that young man do or anything, because he's walking into the industry.
Right.
He has businesses already. We've seen movies like Richie Rich and movies like let's just say movies real quick, and then we'll go back into real life scenarios. What's the movie with Adam Sandler and his father owned this $1 billion company, and
Oh man.
his father gave the company, or they sold it somehow. They changed the paperwork and it went to the next person who was working with his dad.
Right, right. I can't think of the name, but I know
But
you're
his
talking about.
father would always tell him, you want to do it, you can do it, or whatever. But he was all in his own world. You would have thought he was a little slow or something, like a little distance from reality. And the long story short, he came around, he took over the company, and he was successful in it. So, and it wasn't because he went to school, wasn't because he watched his dad every day. It was because he had a passion for, he loved his father. He had a passion for what he had a passion for, and he was, determined to continue the legacy. So he did what he had to come up. He had to learn a couple things. He had to change his style up a little bit. He had to wear a suit and tie a couple times. I think he had on sneakers with it or whatever.
Right, right.
So just to say, but yeah, some things is just who you know, not what you know. So just because a person have a credential, again, we trust that they earned it. We trust that these companies, wouldn't put someone unqualified or underqualified in certain areas, but we know that not to be the truth all the time. We do. We've seen it. So
All right. You on
now
point?
we're all the way off topic in terms of capping and creating, but
It goes
this is
hand in
still a
hand.
good
It still goes hand in
conversation.
hand because
Yeah.
that's still creating right there. But let me hit play because I won't get too far off and see what the person has to say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, nowadays, what they're going to do, or what they've already doing, is they'll look at your social media account and try and find out what type of person are you. Do you like to live that lifestyle? Wild and
True.
crazy. You always got, you, drinking, blowing smoke in the camera, or some crazy stuff like that. They'll look at that stuff and you get fired for stuff like that now. It's just, but they're trying to tap into your personal life to see what type of person you are, to see if you have the social status that we want in our company as well too. So they do have a way to look at that now, but
Yes.
a lot of people don't realize it, or they don't even know that your company can see your social media, and they do check and look at what you do, and they will fire you for that. People have gotten, just like people got fired for being Trump supporters because they were putting it on their social media, and the companies looked at the social media and fired them. So that's exactly a prime example, just going off of something.
Now you're on point. We can call that capping going wrong. Our young people.
Welcome to the show. That is Anointed Steps. Thank you for your comment, Queen.
Hey,
Go ahead, Swoop.
that's something that needs to be talked about, and especially to our young generation, our younger people, right? Because, like she's saying, people want to be, you know, live a certain lifestyle. They want to be cool. They want to fit in. Like she said, out there smoking weed, blowing smoke, and X, Y, Z. And guess what? They no longer. I mean, they still doing background checks, but they don't have to pay that money anymore. All they gotta do is look up and find what your Instagram name is, or your Snapchat, or whatever it is, and look on that and see what kind of lifestyle that you're living. It's like that doesn't represent the values of our company. And right there, you may not even get the job. You may be well qualified in all the position, But what you do outside of work, it's like, oh yeah, we can't hire him. He on paper he's on point, but when you look at social media, it doesn't line up. We can't have that representing our company because I don't know if you've been sleeping on people, but when people are in these social media and having these social outbursts or whatever case may be, whatever you want to call it, they're going to these people's company and telling on them and be like, is this the person that represent your company? And guess what? People are being let go because what they saying and doing on these social medias. So I love what you
Mhm.
said. You're right on point with that. Cap and go wrong. I'm calling that. Go ahead, Miss I Speak Life.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So we know that that's what they're doing now. So we know before they were doing that, they didn't know these people personally, everyone. So for sure, there's some people that made it through the loopholes and the gray areas.
Oh yeah.
And, for me personally, what I do in my personal life shouldn't make it to social media. Therefore, it's not personal. You know what I mean? Anything that makes it to social media should be something that's open to the public. It
Right.
shouldn't even be something that's like, intimate, or when I say intimate, I mean like my daily life. Like you don't need to know what my life looks like on a daily basis. You only get to see what I show you. Hey,
Right.
we're having a party. Hey, we're doing it. Like these one, just little moments, little glimpses. And some people do take this thing well overboard. You see their every move. I'm walking to the grocery store. I'm walking inside the grocery store. I got my cart. I picked up the first pack of meat. All right, I'm going my way to the deli aisle.
and
Yeah,
and and everything she's saying
okay.
right now is the nice stuff that she's saying. She ain't talking about the real stuff they really be
Oh
doing.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Those things ain't
yeah.
those things ain't getting nobody fired. Oh, Dwayne, we seen you going buying steak and we heard you was vegan. No, 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 no. It's the other
No, but
stuff.
you get my
No,
point.
I do. I do.
I'm not talking. I'm not trying to go in nobody's business. I'm not trying to shame nobody for what they do or their
Right.
thing. But the idea that you're going to share all of that, and I think we talked about that before,
Mm-hmm.
that's a part of the issue. We need to know that privacy. When you talk about change the narrative, I am trying to bring back the word privacy. I promise you. I talk to my children about these. We have at least three words that we kind of drill in my house,
Okay.
and privacy is one. Virginity is another. You don't hear it. I don't know why you don't hear it, but you're gonna hear it here.
That's what's up.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So virginity, privacy, value, we talk about a lot. Certain words I just feel you have to maintain what they are. These words have definition, and
Mm-hmm.
it might mean this to that person and mean that to that person. But what is the definition? How is this word defined? And stay and just understand that it matters. So yeah, people are certainly going overboard with what they share on social media and are subjecting themselves to being let go or preventing them from being hired.
Facts.
And jobs are doing another level of investigating in terms of using social media. But this is new. Remember, Twins, we had the show about that.
Mm-hmm.
That was a part of the new norm.
Right.
So this hasn't always been.
No.
So we've been trusting these people the whole time, though. We've heard about the Mrs. Parker, and no shame to Parker being a name, but we've heard about, and this is just an example, Mrs. Parker that slept with the 14-year-old boy or 15-year-old boy. We've heard about those teachers,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
We hear about the priest that touched the boys,
Yeah.
but people still send their children.
Oh
They
man.
still practice,
Right.
So let's just know that we still put our blind trust, into a lot of these school systems. Just things, period. The seat you go sit on, you do not check the legs. You do not ask anybody, when was this chair purchased? You don't ask, what was it created with? Is this, oak wood versus, bark, or I don't know, because I'm not that close to it, but you know what I mean? Luan, for a matter of fact. You're not asking if it's that. So you sit. And because 9 times out of 10, when you sit, you don't fall. You tend to sit even easier, often, until that one time your butt sit in a chair and it give on you. I bet you at least for a while, you gonna start checking these lists.
Oh
I
yeah,
promise
oh
you
yeah.
that.
That is
Go
trust
ahead.
every time. Every time you sit in the chair, you put 2,000% trust in that chair. You just sit down, drop all that weight in the chair, like, and we all do. We all guilty. But like you said, that one time you sit in that chair
Absolutely.
and it falls down, oh, you traumatized for a little bit. All right, we play. We got two. They're probably back to back. So let her rock out. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. I remember I was watching somebody had put it up on YouTube, and they were watching somebody else's, I think, Instagram or live or something like that, and the girl was going off talking to the young people, telling them all your business does not have to be out there. Everything that you do does not have to be everybody's business. And learn
Facts.
to stay in your lane. Learn to stop being so messy. And I was just like, please tell them, because they think that they're supposed to put everything I do. Oh, I went to the store. I went to go do this. I went to go do that. And just everything you do does not have to be broadcasted. Everything you do in your relationship does not have to be broadcasted. And
Facts.
and that was a big point, that she was really talking about relationships, and stop putting your business out there in the street for everybody to know what you done did for somebody else. Don't nobody care, and you need to sit down somewhere.
Hmm.
But I'm the type of person where I just feel like I'm a private person. So at the end of the day, what I do with me and mine is my business, and it ain't none of yours unless I want it to be your business. And I don't like a lot of people in my business. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So that's mine. That's what I have. That's the only thing that, what I'm saying, that you can really have some serious control over, is your own privacy. And a lot of people don't even have that because they have a cell phone. You give the phone your location. You give the phone, your camera is looking at you. They watching you through the camera. And when people say they don't know who I'm talking about. I am talking about the all-seeing eye. If people don't understand what I'm saying, like, they'll be able to find you and track you. Had anybody ever watched the movie Enemy of the State? It's
Sure
the same
did.
thing. Like, these things are tracking devices, but nobody realizes it. But you'll see soon, when things start shifting a different way. But I don't know, man.
Don't have to learn the hard way. And it's crazy that movie Enemy of the State. I want to say it came out at the late '90s or early 2000, and the technology they had in that movie wasn't even out yet. But here we are now, 2021. They GPS cell phones track you everywhere. Like that stuff was happening back then. Now it's a common norm. Everyone's being tracked by their cell phone and things that they do. It's a shame that all these young men. I'm gonna speak for the men. These young men who are rappers, whatever, they be capping all the time by X, Y, Z. But then they post everything on social media, and you go to jail based off a post. You're out here flashing these money, drugs, X, Y, Z, because you want to act like you got it. You're capping, but then guess what? The FBI is sitting there on Instagram looking at your page, liking pictures and everything. Oh, you got this here? Oh, it's under the bed there. They come right to your house, knock on the door, and find all your stuff. And you wonder why you're getting locked up. Because you put too much out there because you're capping too much. No, we should change the title to Capping Going Wrong. That's what it is at this point. Going wrong.
Right, right. I agree. Capping going wrong. Thanks again, Queen. I do appreciate it. And you're absolutely right. You know, they can see everything. Yet we still buy these smartphones. Right? They can't see everything on the dumb phone.
They can't see that on the rotary phone. That's why they're obsolete now.
They can't. Right, they can't see nothing on them dumb phones, but they can see everything on these smartphones that we buy, we upgrade, and I'm saying we because I'm included. But then it goes back to what you were saying, Twin. You know, when you're aware of something, you can have awareness and know, but then you also have your faith. You know, and with these young people, they don't believe it could be them until it's
Right.
them.
So it's too
Back
late.
to the whole enemy of the state, like they don't think, oh, ain't nobody watching me or da, 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 or they watching all of us, and I'm not really doing nothing until it's you. They pop up on or they pop out on, or, you know, read or whatever.
Pull up
So
on me.
I know for me, like I have my camera covered at all times on my laptop if I'm not on an actual
Facts.
Zoom meeting or a
Yes.
house party, something using the camera. I know I turn my location off on my phone if I'm not using my GPS.
Right.
Um, And I noticed that some of these apps that don't say they're using your location, go turn your location off and try to use them. And I
Mm,
guarantee you, you're gonna have some type of issues.
right, doesn't work properly.
You know,
Hmm.
it
Like what
doesn't
does
work
text message?
properly.
Like
I'm
what
like,
does
well, why
text
are
message
you
got to
acting
do?
up?
Right, what does text message got to do with me, my location? You know understand what I'm saying? You want to know where
hmm
you at, when you do it.
hmm So it's true. But look, we put our trust in these phones. Look how much information we got in these phones.
Listen, you
All right,
can.
I'm not gonna come for us. I'm not gonna come
Yeah,
for
you
us.
ain't come up. Listen,
I'm gonna pull back on that. Sorry.
I just say this: if you search the wrong thing on your phone, that's gonna throw a red flag. If you type in something, whatever, it's gonna throw a red flag. Just that simple. I'll put a period there because we got
But
3 messages. Go ahead, go ahead.
look how much trust we put in our phones, knowing that they're watching. They can lock our phones at any time. You ever been locked out of your phone? You
Yeah.
ever had your phone just blink off,
Yep.
just shut off? You got your whole everything is in your phone. Your bank information, your
Facts.
social, your address, to
Facts.
the point where you go to type it, it start popping up on its own.
Say it again. Start typing.
Yeah, until we do it.
Or you know what? When you having a conversation about somebody about something, right? Whatever it may be, you having a conversation in the living room with the family, just talking, whatever. As soon as you pick your phone up and start
Mhm.
typing the first couple words or sentence, the word of the sentence, it completes it for you. Like, but you never search this thing ever in your phone ever. But as soon as you talk about it and pull it up, it finishes the sentence for you. I'm like, how you know I was looking for that? Because your phone is always
Mhm.
listening. And I get it. Most people say, "Well, I'm not doing nothing. Don't worry about it." True, I get that, but it's just the simple fact that that's uncomfortable privacy that people could be listening all the time. Because I'll say 95% of the time, people got their cell phone or their smartwatch on them, if not 100%. All, you know what I'm saying? All the time. You may forget your keys or
All the time.
you may forget your actual money, but you have your cell phone. Because you know with your cell phone, you can pay stuff with your
Mhm.
cell phone now. So you can run out the house and forget your phone. Guess what? I use my cell phone to pay my bill. I'm okay. But I'll put a period there because we got back to back messes and let's go.
Mhm.
Yeah, and even in that enemy of state movie, they was using cameras. They were just using cameras, but the thing was, is the camera view only looked down. So imagine you got cameras now that can zoom in and see your lips moving from a far distance. So imagine even back then when they had the technology, they was watching satellites. They was using the satellite to control the cameras. But he connect if he didn't look up, they couldn't see his face.
Right.
That was the thing. But see now
They
they can
fixed
get
that.
you anywhere. You can walk
Mm-hmm.
past somebody's cell phone and the cell phone picks up your facial features. The cops will be able to find the person. You think you're gonna get away with a crime? Watch how they do when they do that facial recognition. People don't realize when you pick up your phone, you want to give your phone. Oh, it's cool to unlock my phone with my face. Bam, got you.
Gotcha.
Oh, I want to unlock my phone with my fingerprint. Oh, you've never been fingerprinted before, but your phone has it. Your Samsung, your iPhone has your fingerprint. They got it.
Hey, I just want to know who are you hiding from? I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. But everything you're saying is spot on. Everything you said spot on, and it's so scary now, right? You could because everyone got cell phones, everyone got cameras, doorbells, all that stuff. You could do something across the street, but your neighbors across the street camera picked it up, and they can ping off their camera to see exactly what happened. Like that's how crazy technology is. That's how crazy it is. I just want to say that real quick. Let me play.
Absolutely. That's why I don't even use Siri. I use a pin code to get in and out of my phone, not my face or my finger. Mm-mm. And it's not, and that's still not enough.
No.
Because, like I said, these phones can shut down at any time. You don't know where your information goes when your phone screen is black
Yeah.
or stuck.
You think it's sleep, but it's
So,
doing something else. I may play, but yeah.
Go ahead, we got.
I love, man. I was just talking about a rotary phone the other day. Man, I'm weak. I'm weak. Boy, people don't even know what a house phone is. The kids these days, what's a house phone? We're gonna go on Best Buy and show it to them. This is what you have right here. You see this little plug in the wall right here? That's what that was for.
Yeah, I know
I
about
feel
that.
that about phone.
Hold
A
on.
landline. Go ahead.
Landline, yeah. I'm trying to hit play. These fat fingers. Here we go.
Hey, everybody that got them doorbell, those new doorbells, the smart doorbell that you
Mm.
can see people stand in front of your house. What you think they watching? They watching your house. They know when you're leaving. They know when you're there. Say what they put. Everybody back in quarantine again. Anybody that got that daggone doorbell, get back in the house, get back in the house, get back in the house. Why are you leaving the house? Drone just come from over your house, right down in your face. Hey, please report back into your home, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot leave the house.
Oh
You try to
man.
walk out the door with your phone. The phone is tracking where you're going. You stepped outside of your zone. Please return to your zone. People think it's a joke, but it's real. It's real, and it's not a game. But people will see sooner. People will see later. But by the time that happens, then they be like, it's too late now. But people who are aware of this thing, we get called conspiracy theorists, and I'm just like, nah, I'm just real. I know. I love technology, and I know where it's going. You don't. You ever had weird things going on with your phone, like apps opening up and closing and stuff like that?
Just said
All
that.
sorts of just weird things be happening to your phone. Who do you think is doing that? You get People don't realize a lot of the freedoms that you give companies to get into access to your personal information is given through these apps. When they tell you to read the terms of service agreement, people do not read the terms of service agreement.
Sure
Why? Because
don't.
it's too long to read. But in there, they clearly say, "Oh, we sell your data." If the police want that company's data or whatever, they got it. And there's a new thing called the GeoNet, I think is what they call it or whatever. And I know that because of running a digital marketing agency. Now, what they do is if you drive past a company that has a GeoNet, it will pick up on you and send you an advertisement to come shop at the store. So now the